Hey, it's Lumpy with Fool's Paradise Fishing, where remember, it's called fishing and not catching for a reason. So, we're going to do something different, do a little tech tip with buzz bombs, and I'll get everything set up and we'll show you how to tie them up. All right, we're back. It's Lumpy, and what I'm going to do is, we talked about earlier, I'm going to show you how to tie up a buzz bomb, which you can find at the fish house there in Seward, or maybe you can find them locally where you're at before you come up here. They'll be cheaper down the lower 48. They're a little spendy here, but I happened to find this one at Sportsman's Warehouse in Soldotna. It was half price, which meant it was only $5 instead of 10 plus tax. And so I decided to grab it because it's like, oh, I don't have one and I could use it, and then I can demonstrate it. So we'll do that. And they come in these boxes, and they've been these yellow boxes forever. They're made in Canada, as you can see. They may go up, whatever, 25%, but we're not going to get into politics. So support North American made products. And I did. And then what you get in the box is you get come on out, little rubber piece, a little round rubber piece, a treble hook, and the metal jig. I'm not going to use the treble hook, so we'll set this aside, and we're just going to focus on this. This is a size 4, and I got some other ones over here, and we'll look at those too. And then what we'll do is we got the swivel, we got the dual lock, clevis, whatever you want to call it. Number 3 side-wash hooks, because that's what we use up here. So that's what we're going to focus on. And I got 30-pound Andy clear, and it's right here. So 30-pound clear. I got a bunch of other colors and other lines, much to my wife's dismay. But anyway, we'll use clear for this. We could use blue. I also got Eisner Line Premium and 30, but you know, they're not line shy, so you don't have to worry about that. So don't spend a lot of money. I mean, whatever you can get at Walmart in blue or clear, I do that. Oh, we don't need to do that yet. So let's tie on this swivel first. And just a standard fishing knot, nothing you can do. You can do whatever you want. Palomar. I don't even know what this knot is called, but it's the one I do all the time. And you just want to be careful, tie it well, because you hate it if you pigtail the knot. And what that means is the knot slipped, and the fish are fighting got away, and all you get back is a pigtail piece of line because the knot slipped all the way through. But for these fish, this knot works pretty good. And being the military guy, I got to cut the tag in because that drives me crazy. Throw it in the trash so we don't get people mad at us for microplastics everywhere. And then, so the big thing about now that you got it tied to swivel, you got to look on the lure, because it'll say hook with an arrow direction. And I think this is a 4-inch, but it says 4-inch. I thought everything was metric in Canada, but I guess not. So you want to put it in the end, and there's a big hole in the center, if I can get it done. And then you want the little thing pointing to the hook to point towards the swivel. And of course now it's fighting me. There it is. Okay. Because that way it'll swim the correct fashion. So there you go. Now the knot's in there. You could probably put a little bead if you want, but we're not going to do that. Oh, and then of course, forgot the most important thing. So don't do what I did and forget to put on the rubber stopper, because that's like really important. So we'll do this again. 2 times the charm, I guess. In where the hook is pointing, little arrow with the word hook. Get it through, pull it through, and there you go. And that's why you want to do it, because that's going to hit it. And a bead would work, but it comes with the little rubber snubber, so I would use it. And then we'll use the dual lock / clevis, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, this is kind of overkill, but it's what I had, so didn't feel like going and buy a new one. So again, just the standard knot, Palomar knot, whatever you want to do. But make sure there's not a whole lot of pressure on the line, because the salmon's only 10 pounds. It's not like it's a 40-pound bluefin tuna. And I had that happen to me one time. Tied the wrong knot on the hook. threw live bait out there, hooked up into probably a 40-pound tuna, and fought it for about I shouldn't say, probably 10 seconds. And then the line went slack, reeled it in, and I got a pigtail because I didn't tie the knot right. So don't shortchange yourself on the knot, Palomar knot. Look it up. There's lots of YouTube videos on it. So we're going to use a Gamma Katsu Siwash. There's other hooks you can use, but you want to have the eye like that so that you can get it around the swivel. The Japanese, I think, sell some. Here's one. It's a Matsuo hook. It's got, they call it a, what do they call it? A sickle, because I guess it looks like a sickle. You could use that. There's some other ones. This one here, this is a 3.0 also. It's got a really wide mouth. And this is a 2.0. As you can see, it's slightly smaller, but we're going to stick with a 3.0. And I do the thing with Gamakatsus is I'll take a pair of pliers out there and we'll fish with them. And if you fish them for a whole day, you might as well just take them off and throw them away, because in the salt water, the hook points erode to the point you can't sharpen them anymore. So you just got to throw them away. And the hooks aren't that expensive, so I would jump on it. And then we'll put the little loop through the eye. We'll take our handy dandy pliers, just the ones I had up here, and we'll close it. And then the next thing you want to do, up to you, but I like putting a little bend in down here. And what it does is it offsets the hook point, and that way it allows a little bit easier access to the fish. And I have no scientific study that says it works better than anything else, but it's just what I do. And I'm catching fish, so I'm going to keep doing it. So the other thing I was going to show you is why you want to use a swivel, because where's it at? I just had it. If you use also you want to use the Siwash, because I tied this up with an octopus hook, and as you can see, it doesn't line up correctly and you could miss a bite. So I'm actually going to retie this one up, and a little bit later. Don't need to do it again. And then you can add some flair. Here's this next smaller size, and it says 3L inch, which I think is 3-inch, but I think the L's for the holographic. I have a plain one. I have a plain pink one. And it does not, it's a 2.5. Yep, the holographic's got an extra letter. But I would stick to 3 to 4. And I would, there's your rubber stopper. I threw, a little squid to make it look like a tail, but well, the jury's still out on that, but we'll keep trying. And then I just wanted to pull out a couple of other hard metal jigs, and they have these assist hooks, and normally when you're dropping it from the boat, they call it kind of yo-yo in the tuna fishing world, and you drop it down, reel it back up. That's another way of getting salmon, or jigging, what they call it. So you can jig for salmon in this manner, but it's a vertical jigging, vertical yo-yo. And so these things, and you want to put a little bend in it if you do it, and that helps it swim down. This is a Gibbs, which is a Canadian company. A lot of good salmon fishing. That's why there's a lot of, on the West Coast, there's a lot of Canadian lures. And so the reason you do that is, if like this, I'm going to take this apart, take that off, because you don't want a bottom hook, because if it gets to the bottom, it could be rocky or kelp or whatever, and then it'll hook into the kelp and you can't get it out, and then you have to cut, lose a bunch of line, and you're probably the jig that was working on everything. So that's one of the reasons for that. But for casting from the shore and throwing it out there, you want the trailing hook. I'll leave this out. I'm going to fix this in a minute. And then there's some smaller ones. Yeah, I've caught some fish with them. I don't know how good they are. Purple seems to be a color up here. When you catch the salmon, they'll have a purple hue to them. On the Columbia and the Puget Sound, the fish have a green hue to them. So I'm not sure what does that. Maybe it's water temperature. Maybe that's the way they grow. Kind of show which area they're from. Don't know. Maybe I'll look it up, but not today. All right, so there you go. When you're fishing from Lowell Point Road, casting from the rocks, this is one of the things you could use, or you can use the crippled herring, or you can go down to the fish house and see what they recommend, because they may know something we don't know. And that's all I got for today. So this is Lumpy with Fool's Paradise Fishing, and they call it fishing and not catching for a reason.